Art is where sometimes on my free time I can just express myself.
Like, what do you mean? Give me an example.
Sometimes I just draw what I'm thinking of.
Well, what do you think of?
That's classified.
Naked ladies?
No.
I have to go outside first. Sorry. Thanks for setting up. No problem. So, I'd just like to apologize for last night for not being part of the conversation at the dinner. So I just want to say that. I'm Catholic. This is a performance I did in San Francisco in the Mission District. I was invited to do something at the gallery. I don't like to do things in galleries. I have done things in galleries. So I proposed that I do something outside. And this is what I did. So this is the documentation of that. So it's a cart with car batteries with an inverter and a projector. And I rode around in the Mission District projecting an image of an apple. The projection. Is this, and it's the apple, so the illusion of the three-dimensional apple with landscape from the area from where I'm from in California. So it's flat land where it's been graded so that it is flat. and you can see the furrows. The dot there is tracking me, it's GPS tracking me in the landscape. I'm spelling the word labor. What brought me here? I met Benoit in San Francisco. We became friends. We became closer friends when we traveled together to North Dakota, to a location that Benoit wanted to visit to follow up some research on a curatorial project he was doing. And he asked me to do some performances or some actions on that trip. So we went together, and in the background is Nakoma, but basically it's a missile radar site that was decommissioned before the end of the Cold War. And its intention was to track incoming intercontinental ballistic missiles into the United States. So we went there. We both took video images of the landscape of the area, and I proposed that we project that imagery in San Francisco while we're driving around in a car, very similar to what you just saw, but this time it's in a car and getting the electricity from the car. So this is a little bit long, so I'm going to be jumping through. So the idea of renting a car when we arrived in North Dakota, coming back and driving around San Francisco, obviously at a much slower pace. The found footage is from the Perlinger archive. I don't remember if I found that or if Benoit found it. So we took that footage and projected it onto silos in North Dakota, just outside the town of, I forgot. Do you remember? No. So this was really isolated locations. I was a bit scared because we didn't ask for permission. I rarely ask for permission, which makes things difficult here in Switzerland for me. This is driving around the pyramid site or the radar site that we just saw. So it's surrounded by that landscape. Here's projected in San Francisco. I'm not sure if it's stuttering up there, but I'm sorry, but it's not supposed to do that. Aside from doing performative actions, I also do what you would call video art. I don't know if I would call it that, but I've been working with video the last 12 years. I started off with very simple things, and I was using, for example, Final Cut Pro, Premiere, the nonlinear editing suites. It bored me. It bored me because the limitations and the parameters were limited because I had to do what the program was telling me to do, or was letting me do. So I learned how to code, but I only learned computer programming for the things that I needed. I do not know any of the language or the terminology of it. If I was to talk to a computer programmer, I wouldn't understand what they were talking about. Maybe some of it. I know only what I need to know. I don't need to know more than that. So this is what I think is a good example of a straight video that gets this across. Other things that I'm interested with this video is playing with the flatness of the screen. first projections that I did. It's a camera obscura. It's a 1 meter cube. I don't have images of it. It doesn't exist anymore. So this is looking down onto the cube. The train is inside. It's going in circles. And there's a tune that came with the train, and it's A Small World. So the light comes through the lens or the aperture and then reflects off this mirror, and the train is projected exactly around the lens on the top. So this was for my grad thesis. This was also for my grad thesis. Language is important to me. Images are important to me. I don't know if you can see it, but in this area right here, there's a wire that looks sculptural attached to the wall. That's the apparatus. When you look through the apparatus, this is what is legible. With language, being Mexican American, first language, Spanish, broken Spanish. Both of my parents didn't go to school. So, with this reading, I stumbled on it by accident because I was trying to just project ideas. And then when I went to seminar and I showed this piece, everyone thought that it said clear. That was an accident. So then I started to say, well, it also could be deer. So I was playing along with everyone, but no one said that it was ideas during seminar. So the juxtaposition of reading language and the mark of writing and how is that is subjective really intrigued me. So those two works are really important in the things that I'm doing, that I'm always doing probably, but I don't think about it consciously. It's just there. Both of those works don't exist. In Sierra, how are we doing? Should I stop?
No, you have still like 5 minutes.
So in Sierra, I taught a workshop with some students, and this was some. It was a performance-based workshop with the residency that I did here with the CRIC. And I forget what that stands for, but do you know? Alan?
I think it was in
Center for
2007.
Yeah. But it was a residency, and I was here for quite a while. Actually, I was here for almost 4.5 months. So. The students created all these actions around the main boulevard. And it was during lunchtime when everyone comes out of work and goes into the center, either to Migros or to get lunch. So I was reading, and then the students slowly brought their actions toward this area. And you could see some remnants here of someone else's, of a student's work. This is students. So for me, and when we were talking in the workshop, the idea of when a performance ends and when a performance begins was really something that we were interested in. So when does the participant no longer become the performer? So they all clapped as if it was an end, and I just kept going. And I just kept going all over Sear, and I kept running. And then students would catch up and they would be really tired. And then I ran again. And then I kept running, and I kept running, and I ended up at the school. This is another action that I did. I'm not really in love with this, but I think it's important. So I attached the bike to the back of my, not I attached the bike to my camera, no. I attached the camera to my bike. I'm kind of in that same area where that other performance. This is all by myself, not with the students. Then I parked the bike and I'll let it run for a bit. I stayed like this for about 10 minutes, and then this happened. Oops. That hand that came up to the lens was the policeman's hand when he started recording over the sections that he felt were not permissible in Switzerland because I didn't ask for permission. I was detained for about an hour and a half, and the policeman would not speak English to me. It was my my second time in Switzerland, and I didn't understand so much. Now I understand a little bit more so, but I have difficulty speaking. I just remember interdit. I think that's something like that. So you could see on the table all my stuff, all my credit cards. I didn't have my passport. Luckily, I had the half-price card for the train, and they asked for your passport there, and I guess that was sufficient that they could find my information. So, yeah. So I think that it's probably time. Yeah. So I just want to show this real quick. This is what I'm interested right here. These things, the red and this. Thank you.